Today's paint along is a little bit different than some of the other episodes that I've recorded. I'm recycling a page in my art journal. This is just some sketch that I did, and it was a practice, and now I'm going to cover it. I want to stress the importance of the act of doing. Just putting something in your sketchbook, whether it's something you love or something you don't, because it is such a therapeutic benefit to your life. I decided to use pink because for me that represents love, peace. It's just such a beautiful color, and I use it a lot in my artwork. So the first thing I'm doing is covering the edges, and later I will put some washi tape over those edges because I just wanted to create a little border in my sketch or art journal. I've had a really tough month in January, and this is just a way to release and transform my emotions into something beautiful. Now, you don't have to use washi tape if you want to use just Scotch tape or any kind of tape to cover your edges. That will work just fine. I don't always use a border for the edges, but to me, it gives me a sense of completion when I remove that tape to reveal these nice crisp edges. And speaking of which, one way that I do get the crisp edges is I paint some gesso over the tape once I put it down, and that will give you that nice clean edge without the bleeding underneath. I learned this the hard way. So, as I started to say, stress was at an all-time high. I've had some health challenges. I've had pneumonia. I had some family challenges, but this is the fun part. Just take some colored pencils and scribble some marks. I love this. It's just so freeing, and I'll add some dark marks some places, more bold lines, and just be free with it. I have no method here. I'm just intuitively making marks. Now, I will add that I did gesso this before I painted, so it grabs the colored pencils a little bit more. Changing it up with a new color, just to add a little bit more depth. And when you are painting, layers of any kind will add so much interest to whatever you're doing. So here I am adding some violet to the marks, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just having fun, right? So when you're doing this part of the art journal piece, don't attach any meaning to the marks that you're putting in here. Just have fun, let loose, and scribble and color and shade whatever you feel like, wherever you feel like. I can't tell you how much freedom this releases. When I am creating art, there's something that just transports me to another place. Okay? I get into that flow state where, the problems of my day or week or month don't matter. And I just have fun. I think the first layers are always the most fun because there's no judgment, there's no perfection. You're just putting things together. And the great thing about an art journal is you don't have to be tied to the outcome, like the cup that I covered up. I was practicing, and it served its purpose, and now I'm reusing that page to do something different. I like to collage, and I often cut out different patterns or shapes or animals that I like. And these little um, triangle line geometric shapes really caught my eye, and I just picked them out really because the colors kind of go with the scheme that I'm aiming for, and I'm just putting them down randomly. Um, Now, I do have a little bit of composition in mind, like, you want to not put something directly in the center, not have things even, but kind of, when you read right to left. So I always keep that in mind when I'm making something, because taking your eye across the page from right to left, and here you can see I'm traveling the eye upward, back down, and then to the very end of the page. After those dry, I'll proceed and do some more coloring to this project. Oh, I decided to add another one down there. I really like the feel of this, and at this point I really don't know what I'm doing yet. Now I want to just kind of mute some areas out, so I'm adding a little bit of white mixed paint just to, kind of mute it out a little bit. And then I'm going to take that pink again and start covering up some of the collage that I added. I really just want a little peek of it showing through. And when you see a close-up of this, you'll be able to see that some of this collage that I placed in here is completely covered, but you can just see the outline of the paper that was glued in the book. And now I'm just playing with the pink colors, adding some dark. I'll mix it with some white in areas to make it lighter. And again, think about dancing across the page. And that's what I have in mind. Just a free dance across the page with darkness and lightness, just to give you that feeling of fun, right? Peace, joy. There's no right or wrong. You can use whatever colors that you are called to or what speaks to you. Sometimes I like pink, sometimes I like blue or orange. Tonight I was in a pink mood, and I'm just having fun. You can't mess it up at this point. So here I want to mix some of that light into the dark and just kind of have a little bit of blending, but not much. I try not to overwork my layers because then it just becomes one big blur. Now, if you look really close, this magenta is somewhat transparent. So even though it's dark, you can see some of those beautiful marks that are coming through in the background. An opaque color like the white completely covers the marks. So you have a mixture. And now this beautiful yellow green. And when it mixes with the magenta, those are somewhat complementary colors, you'll get a neutral. Again, this is another transparent, so I wanted to add some white to make it a little bit more opaque, but there are areas that you can still see through to the undermost bottom layer, which is pretty cool. Keeping with that feeling, I do want your eye to travel across the page and not get stuck in the center or on the edge or in a dark spot. So I'm just really trying to guide that, give some guidance. And now as I see the marks that I've laid down, I'm getting this flowing feeling like, the wind is blowing and there's sunshine in the background. And I kind of have an idea of where I want to go with this. Keep in mind, when I first started painting, I really had no idea. But as you continue to work and you think of images, that will start to come together for you. I decided to add a little bit more white to the center and in various places just to bring a little brightness. This is the last color that I put on when I want to, when I'm using acrylics, because, you just want it in certain places. Getting the feeling of, some feathers here, if you can see that. And so I decided I'm going to make a Dreamcatcher. You can use any circular shape that you want. You can draw it freehand if you want. I just really wanted to get the proportion right, and so I'm just using this little template. Okay, now I'm going to make some threads in the center of my Dreamcatcher. This is where you catch your dreams. Dreams are so important, They just allow you to release any hidden messages that your subconscious wants to tell you. I've had some wild dreams, and that's why I think dream catchers are all different. There's no two alike. And you can make your dream catcher however you want. I'm not making this center perfect because, again, I don't want it to be perfect. When you think about life, life's not perfect, right? But what's great about life is the fact that we have a choice to live every single day in a state of happiness. Now, I'm not saying bad things don't happen, and I've had some pretty crappy days, and sometimes you just have to feel those feelings. But one of the reasons I believe that art is so beneficial is you can take something that is traumatic or stressful or anxiety producing and sit down and allow it to melt away, transform, release, get those emotions out on paper or canvas or whatever you choose, because that's the power of art. I know because I've used it to really transform so many emotions that I held deep within me and begin to heal. And I don't always just do art. I like writing, dancing, singing, any type of creative activity that you like to do can help you live a more happy, joyous, and free life. Okay, now I'm just going to lightly sketch in some shapes in the center of my dream catcher. Notice these are not symmetrical, they're not perfect, and I really like it that way because if you think of a homemade dream catcher, they're not perfect. You know, they're hand woven. Next, I'm going to add some more depth to the center of the dream catcher just by kind of going around these little circular shapes with that darker magenta very lightly. And again, adding more depth. Next, I'm going to focus on the feathers, and I'm just going to place some lines organically. I don't want them straight, where I think I see some feathers. And I already have that feeling, that movement across the paper, and I'm just amplifying that with these lines, and I'll add my feathers in later. Again, remember, there's no right or wrong. Now let's just gently make some strokes and very loosely make some feathers. I want you to pay attention how I'm using different sides of the brush, different angles of the brush, and my strokes are all different, right? Sometimes I use the tip of the brush, sometimes I use the side of the brush. That creates interest instead of making everything uniform and the same. Now I'm going to add my second color here, a little bit of that beautiful yellow green, just to add more variety to my feather. And it's time to start on feather number 2. Again, very loose, free. Just let the brush flow. This is an angled brush that I'm using, but you can use any kind of brush that you have on hand. It doesn't really matter. And now this one I'm adding a little bit of a different color, some of that magenta, which really contrasts nicely with the light background that I have in this section of the painting. Do you know what feathers represent? I find this really interesting. Feathers represent a fresh start in a spiritual sense. Truth, speed, love, lightness, flight. Feathers can also mean that your angels are near. And whenever I see a feather or find a feather, it does remind me that there's more to a physical being than just being here. The feathers on a dream catcher are considered sacred. They symbolize strength and wisdom, and they allow beautiful dreams to reach the sleeper. Feathers that are hanging represent the breath or air which is usually attached to the ring. Some dream catchers have several feathers, and some have only one. It was thought by Native Americans that the good dreams pass through and gently slide down the feathers as a way to comfort the sleeper. According to tradition, the web-like center is a way to catch and trap negative thoughts or dreams, allowing only positive energy to flow through. And they filter out that negative energy, preventing bad dreams. They were often used in the Native American culture to protect sleepers, especially children, from bad dreams, nightmares, or even evil spirits. The colors of the feathers are also significant. Red feathers indicate good fortune, passion, emotions, courage, money, and security. Whereas blue feathers represent peace, inspiration, spiritual connection, and psychic awareness. Yellow feathers indicate mental alertness, vision, joy, cheerfulness, intelligence. And green feathers indicate health, healing, nature, prosperity, success, and animal spirits. So as you can see, my Dreamcatcher has a little bit of all of these colors. And now I'm adding a little bit of white to just give some more definition and, give the illusion of the feather. And again, these strokes are different in thickness and brightness and size, and they're very free flowing, just like I want my feathers. As I looked around, I decided I needed something in the top right hand corner. So we're just going to add some more movement and some more feathers. I love using my fingers to make things a little bit more loose and gentle feeling. And now I'm going to add a little bit more lightness and some of that beautiful light yellow green. That could be interpreted as a loose feather up in the top corner, but I'm just kind of adding some around just to add some interest. Now, as I added the dark around the center, I'm also adding some dark lines down the feathers and around the outside of the strings or things that are holding the feathers on, just to make those stand out a little bit more. And just making some fun marks. And now it's time to remove the tape. And I love this part because it just gives you that sense of completion with the nice crisp edges. Kind of frames your painting. I'm so happy I chose pink. I usually leave it white, but that pink really adds something to this Dreamcatcher. Pink is the color of love, so how appropriate. I really hope you take the time to create a little abstract Dreamcatcher of your own. Now see, I kind of tore a little bit of the paper up there, but no big deal because we'll just paint it. But create some of your own Dreamcatchers. These are really a fun project, and they can be loose and the colors that you're called to, and then take a moment to look up the colors of the feathers that you choose to paint and see if that resonates with you. Please share any comments that you have if you'd like to see more of this type of content where I go deeper into the meanings of the art. Let me know in the comments. Here I decided that I wanted to add a little contrast to that border, so I'm just adding a little bit of layering with a little bit of white, and I like how that turned out. It just gives it a little bit more interest. And as always, I hope you like and subscribe to my channel. Leave some comments because it does cost a little bit of money to make these videos, but I do it for you. Share with your friends, and there you go. Thanks for watching.